Yo, what is good, YouTube? In today's video, I'm giving you guys the best settings to run on controller after the Season 2 Reloaded updates. If you enjoy the video, let's break 200 likes, subscribe with notifications turned on, and let's get into it. Let's hop in here and show you guys the best settings to run. These are settings that I'm going to give you that I personally use and have been using, and these are going to help you build off of. If you have maybe something that you're not as comfortable with or you're trying to find the right settings, these will give you something really great to build off of yourself, or you can use exactly what I do because it works out great for me, and I have like a 5+ KD in Warzone. I think the last time I checked it was like a 5, 6, or I think maybe even a 7 in Resurgence because I'm kind of nasty with it. But let's hop in here. Button layout's going to be on tactical flipped, and that's just because I go down here. I have this flipped on so I can swap my LB RB with my LT RT. I have a Scuff and Vision controller which shows up as an Xbox controller since it's that PC specific one. I run on a dual PC setup, so this is hardwired into my gaming PC. So that's why I have that. It doesn't really matter if you're on PlayStation, Xbox, whatever it may be. Tactical flipped, I believe, is a more superior way to do it unless you have, you know, the triggers on the bottom that actually click in faster, and that might be a little bit better to run maybe the other way, but it's not going to make or break your gameplay. What matters more is your sensitivities, which we're going to get to right now. First thing, your horizontal is 1.4 and your vertical can be a 1.4 as well. What this roughly translates to, before they messed with it, Call of Duty loves to do things where they kind of fix something that's not broken and they kind of make it harder to figure out. So they didn't need to change it from 1 to 20 and make it down to these weird numbers. But basically, this is a 6.6 sensitivity. So you have this at a 1.4, 1.4. Keep it real standard. The best players in the world that play Call of Duty on Warzone and on multiplayer that, you know, compete in the CDL, they don't really play on a high sense. Like, they're not really doing that. There's some guys probably in Warzone, I think, that play on a higher one. The guys that won the World Series of Warzone, they play on a lower sensitivity. So if you have a high sense, dial it back, because the best guys in the world that have the best shot, the best aim, the best reaction time, play on a lower sense. There's kind of a little bit, you know, a method to the madness right there. So we're gonna run with that, and that should be something you guys can build off of and kind of alter yourself. But try this out and let me know what you think. We're gonna move on down here though. This is gonna be off, that's gonna be off, that's gonna be off. And of course, like I said, this is gonna be on so I can swap that over just to use my top bumpers. I feel comfortable with it. Going on down here, controller vibration, this can be on or off. To me, like, this controller has a very like small rumble pack, so it's very minimal. I even use my PS5 DualSense Edge when I use that for a little bit. The rumbling was maybe a little bit too much, but otherwise it's not like it's messed with my shot. Like, it's not going to do that. So people say it's going to mess with your aim. You got bigger problems than a little bit of vibration messing with your aim. That's not going to do that. We're going to go down here now to the dead zone inputs. This is something you guys really, really want to be, you know, cognizant of, because this is a huge, crucial thing. So I'll explain all these real quick for you. Left stick and your right stick, you want this to be as low as humanly possible. This is going to be a 0-0 for me, because when you think about it, the dead zone, that means that, like, if I change this, I move this over 3, 4, 5, that means that I have a 5 degrees of where, like, I have that stick movement on my right stick, where that 5 degrees, I don't get any sort of movement at all. It doesn't register an input. When I turn it down to 0, that means I'm actually going to have that movement instantaneously. This may feel really weird if you're playing on a 5 or a 10. It's going to feel odd when you turn it down to like a 0. So kind of gradually work your way down, like maybe from 10 to 7 to 5 to 3 to 1. Kind of do that. Also, this is going to depend on your controller stick drift. If you have a lot of stick drift, you might just need a new controller at some point. But overall, the lower your left stick minimum and right stick minimum is, generally speaking, better. So your left stick max and right stick max, this is where it's going to get a little bit fun. Now your left stick max here, this is going to be on a 60, and this is where it's going to get real fun, real interesting, because this is something I think that's a little bit underrated. We don't need to have the full diameter of the analog stick to be available to us. When we're trying to like narrow that down, that means that we only need 60% of the real estate we have on that left stick in order for something to fully kick in. So when I fully press to go forwards, I only need to do it 60% of the way for it to fully register a maximum input. And that's really good, because I'm trying to like bob and weave and slide around people, and this allows me to be very quick and precise, and I don't have to hit the full stick forward, backward. Like, it kicks in way before I can even get there because the controller responds fast. So that's really solid. Whereas if you go over to your right stick max, you want this at 99, 100. I have it 99. I actually thought 99 for a while was the max it went to, and I've been playing on this. So whether it be 99 or 100, Just kind of do what feels good to you, but that's going to be about it. And I know I'm going to get some questions on here about my left trigger and my right trigger. This is just because my controller, those bottom triggers are so touchy that they would automatically stim shot or throwing knife by themselves. And so I have to have a dead zone on there because they're mouse click triggers. So the dead zone doesn't really affect me. It just makes it so that they don't auto click in. But just in case you guys want a little bit of clarification on this before I move to the next tab, we're not trying to lower this at all. It's not like the left stick where you don't need to have the full space. We're aiming with the right stick, so we need to have that full space available to us. So you don't want to alter that really much. So that's why I said 99 or 100. Now let's move on to the aiming tab. Now we'll get it here to your sensitivity multiplier in the aiming tab. First thing in here, we're going to go in and we're going to change one setting. If you guys haven't had this changed, you definitely should. I play on a 0.70 ADS sensitivity multiplier. And what that means is that I get roughly 70% of my 1.4, aka my 6.6 horizontal and vertical sensitivity when I'm aiming. And what that does is that slows me down more so, and it allows, when you combine that with the aim assist, for my aim to feel very, very sticky and for it to be pretty difficult for me to get off target. So if I was running with this at a 1.0, my aim would look a little bit more shaky. I'd probably start missing some more shots. But when I have this dialed in like this, you will really, really see a benefit of having the overall ability to have very sticky aim. So try this, maybe move it from a 1.0 down to a 0.9, a 0.8, or even a 0.7 is kind of what I have. So try it out. You'll thank me later when you move it down from that 1.0 is really going to be noticeable. Now we're going to go down here and go to the aiming advanced settings. This right here, we're going to go in and we don't need to mess with that look inversion. This is just all standard stuff. Don't need to go for any of that. Now what we're going to be really honing in on is our aim response curve type. So a couple things in here: standard, linear, and dynamic. Basically, the ones you want to choose from are standard and dynamic. Linear is going to be that total flat, like it's not going to be any sort of, curve or anything to help you out. The standard and dynamic help you out the absolute most. Dynamic gives you that nice S curve, which is pretty solid, makes it so it ramps up real quick, and then it also kind of goes down, so you don't have to have as much input. It helps you hit more shots, maintain better accuracy, whereas standard, they don't really give you the exact sort of curve to it, but it is quote unquote a power curve map, so it helps you kind of ramp up and slow down. That's also what helps your aim be more sticky, whereas linear, I don't think it's going to be that great for like 99+% of people out there. You just want to stick to one of these two, standard or dynamic, and you'll be okay. Going down here to this show more tab, aim response curve slope scale, we can leave this at a 1.0. I know people like to get real crazy with it, and they go in here to your aim response curve type, they go and throw on like dynamic, for instance, then they start messing with a slope scale, which basically what that does, we turn it down from a 1.0. If you think about like a nice S on the everything, like an S in the air, when you start messing with a curve slope scale, all it's doing is just flattening the S, making it so it's just flatter, so you get less of that benefit that you have from dynamic. I don't really understand that, why you'd want to do that. I think it's like really helping you the absolute max just by itself, so we don't need to lessen it. So just leave it at a 1.0 and you'll be okay. Messing with that, like, it's not going to be really that good for you. Custom sensitivity per zoom. The only reason I could see you guys want to do this is maybe you're using a sniper rifle and you got like, a Car 98, for instance, which has that 7x zoom. Maybe you want to dial that back a little bit. I personally haven't. I might experiment with it a little bit if I try to start sniping a bit more, but otherwise I leave this off. I don't think any of this would be beneficial, minus like a 6 to 7 times or something like that, just for those specific instances where I'm using a sniper and I want to be aggressive and hit some more shots and feel like my aim is a bit stickier with that. Back here in the aiming tab though, just getting out of the aiming advanced settings, aim assist is of course going to be on, same with the target aim assist. Your motion sensor behavior can be off. Motion sensor advanced settings, I'm going to click into this real fast. This isn't something you have to mess with, but FOV sensitivity scaling, mine was turned on. I turned it off. I'm not sure if it did a whole lot. My shot still feels really good, real sticky. So try it out, see if you have it on, turn it off, see if it does anything for you. COD's a bit weird. We don't mess with anything in the motion sensor, but FOV sensitivity scaling, it could be one of those weird settings that does something on the game. COD's just kind of broken like that. So just go ahead and try it out, see if it works for you. If not, just leave it on. It doesn't really matter. Now in the movement tab, this is going to be something that you guys definitely want to be paying attention to, as you should have been for the rest of the video. But our sprint assist is going to be on tactical sprint assist. This is your automatic tac sprint. This is what allows you to move around very fluidly, so you don't have to constantly mash in that stick. It helps also save your stick life on your controller, so you definitely want that on when you're playing Warzone. It makes all the difference in the world. Just keep it on, unless you're for whatever reason crouching around and being weird. Maybe you don't want that on, but otherwise, for everyone else out there that's playing this game like a real man and running around, we're going to be using that. Now we're going to go down here into the show more. Sprint assist delay should be on 0. Want that to kick in as fast as humanly possible. COD's all about quick reactions and stuff like that, and this will help you get out of those sticky situations when you got to run away from somebody, played up, get back into the fight. Sprint assist sideways can be on. This can be on as well. I don't think it's going to harm you to have them on or off. I just leave them on, and I find it to be perfectly okay. Mantle assist, this is just going to stay on off. You could have this on low mantle assist, but I wouldn't recommend having it on. I don't think it's going to be that great. I don't like automatic mantling on stuff. To me, that gets me killed, you know, when I'm trying to like run by something and I auto mantle onto it. Not that fun. So we're gonna just leave that off. And then if you want to, you can go down here and your mantle assist angle can just be on tight instead of medium or loose. So that way it has to be very deliberate for you to go ahead and mantle something. Just kind of keep that in your mind. And I have these on off as well. So that way I don't, accidentally somehow backwards mantle something or whatever. We don't want any of that. Crouch assist, that's going to be off. We don't need any of that shenanigans. Just keep that off. Corner slice, this, I see some people have it on. It's not going to make or break your gameplay, to be honest. If you feel comfortable having corner slice on, by all means, have corner slice on. I don't really care for it, so I have that off. It's just not going to do anything negative. It's not like it's going to auto mount you or anything else like that to a corner. It's just if you want to aim around a corner, peek out a little bit, maybe it could be useful for like a head glitch style thing. You know, you're going up to the top of Rebirth, peeking out real quick, and then you don't see your full body. Maybe it could be beneficial like that, but I just sooner kind of slide out the door and kind of do some crazy stuff and, you know, break some camera angles and stuff. I'm not a YY nerd. I don't, you know, be slide canceling around doing some YY spinny stuff, but I do be breaking some camera angles and some ankles when I can. Slide/dive behavior should be on tap to slide. We want this on there, so go ahead and have that. We don't need it on any of these other things. I personally found that when I did hybrid, it kind of messed with me, so I don't really like that. Tap to slides, what's going to allow you to do the slide canceling. And of course, down here, your activation delay should be on short. This is going to allow you, so that way when you're on tap to slide, if you want to, let's say, dive off a rooftop, go ahead and parachute because you can get a little bit farther distance. This will allow it to still be very, very short. And so that way you can just hold it in briefly. And it's not going to be too short to the point where you're going to accidentally dive when you don't need to. It's just going to be short enough so that it's a point where you don't just run off and accidentally fall down and get a pretty crappy jump off a building. So I like that. I think that's really beneficial. Going on down here, we're just going to leave automatic airborne mantle on. It does help out. Sprint restore on, slide maintain sprint on, parachute automatic behavior. This can be on off or free fall. I mean, it doesn't really matter too much, but I think maybe having it off might save you a little bit, since sometimes your parachute will auto open on like weird stuff like, you know, ladders. You're trying to get off of a ladder and your parachute opens. I'm sure that's happened to everybody that's watching this video. So maybe you have that off, but I have it on free fall and it's not messing with me too much. Mantle cancels reload. We have that on. I like to have it just because, you know, I'm not trying to still continually reload while I'm mantling, but it can be a useful setting to have off. So that's one of those things you have to play around and see in your gameplay play style, would it be beneficial to be able to have the mantle cancel your reload or to keep it going. Now we're going to get into the movement advanced settings. So we're going to click on this tab, and our sprint tactical sprint behavior is going to be on toggle. This is going to be off. And going on down here, we don't really have to mess with too much. Tactical sprint activation can be on double tap, but keep in mind we have that pretty much automatic tac sprint, so we're not really tapping a whole lot, though I do kind of sometimes button mash a little bit anyways, just a force of habit. And go down here to sprinting door bash, this can be on, and that's really all you need down here in the movement tab. Now for the last of the controller tab in combat, this is going to have a few things in here that are going to be pretty solid. So we don't have to go over the aim down sight behavior. You guys know that. We're just going to go in here and find some stuff that is useful, like the body shield finishing move behavior. I just do prioritize finishing move because I don't go for the shield. I don't go for the body shield. It's not something that I care for. Whenever I'm doing a finishing move, or when I'm trying to go for that, it's just like insult to injury. I'm not really trying to be funny with it. Like, I just want the finishing move and I want to keep it moving. So I just do that. Armor plate behavior, you want this on apply all. So that way, like, you don't want to on apply one, apply all. That way when you hold down, you know, Y or triangle or whatever it is for you, that it just applies every single plate so you can be fully plated up. Really nice to have that. Definitely not good to have your finger continuously on that button. It stops you from aiming and doing stuff like that. So we don't want that. C4 detonation can be whatever you want. Doesn't matter too much. And then your combat advanced settings will go in here real quick. Basically, a couple things in here that are pretty crucial. First being your interact/reload behavior. This should be on prioritize interact. You guys need to have this on prioritize interact. Like, change this, star immediately star, change this to prioritize interact. If you're playing multiplayer, tap to reload. But we're not playing multiplayer, we're playing Warzone, and this helps me just scoop up guns real quick. So that's why you guys can tell by my gameplay, when I drop in, I'm just instantly looting up real fast. I'm using my back paddles on my controller, just looting up, picking up things real quick. The only downside is sometimes you accidentally drop your gun for something on the ground. Not the end of the world. I'd rather be able to loot unbelievably quick than to be having to hold on something to be able to pick it up. That will get you killed so quick when you do that, because someone else is going to be running prioritize interact. They're going to pick up something YY real quick, gun you down, and you're still going to be trying to pick up whatever. So we don't want that. Sprint cancels reload. We just leave this off because, funny enough, some guns, when you are sprinting and reloading, have a bit of a faster, almost running speed when they're reloading. It's kind of weird like that. I'm sure some of you guys have noticed it, where there's certain guns where you go to reload and your character does move seemingly a little bit quicker. It's pretty nice to have that. So I have that off so I can get those reloads in. Also, by the way, for automatic tac sprint, you will deal with some issues if you don't have this off. It's going to start messing with you, and I don't like that. So we just leave it off, and it causes no problems. ADS stick swap, that's off, and depleted ammo switch weapon is on. It's just nice to have. You don't have to have it, but it is nice to have. Now let's get into some settings that are going to help you out that aren't necessarily controller related, but will make your gameplay significantly better. So let's get in here, because this all ties in, and we've got to make sure you guys are fully taken care of. Motion reduction preset, we're leaving this off. We don't need to go ahead and mess with that. We're going to customize this all ourselves. Field of view, some people ask me what I play on. The default, you can see it says reset to 90. I play on 120. I believe that is the move. Some people say that, oh, you can't play on 120 because you get less aim assist. Have you seen my videos? Does it look like I get less aim assist playing the game? No, that is a complete fallacy, whatever you want to call it, however you pronounce it. It is a lie. You don't get less aim assist on 120. Some pros play on like 115, 109. I can't remember what they play in like the CDL, you know, competitive COD, but essentially for public match multiplayer, you're going to want to be able to play on 120. It works out great. ADS field of view, this is something that goes hand in hand with it. If you're playing on 120, you got to be playing on unaffected. You don't want to play on independent, because that means if you play on independent, you're going to zoom into that like 90 or 80 FOV, and that's going to look real wonky. It probably can give you some motion sickness if you start zooming in and out too much. I don't like that at all, so we're just sticking with affected. It also has that nice visual effect of making your guns look like they have less recoil, and it does allow you to see more of what's going on around you too, so it is a nice thing to have. It will widely help you out. Weapon field of view can be on wide. This just makes your gun look a little bit smaller. We don't need it to be just massive on our screen. They're already big enough. Like, for real, when you get that reload in, it can be frustrating seeing that the gun takes up like 90% of your screen on a reload. So we want it to be a little bit smaller. Third person field of view can be on 90. That just is like the max out. We don't really care about third person too much. World motion blur off, weapon motion blur off, and of course your first and third person camera movement should be on 50%. This means that, you know, for instance, we have an airstrike or something comes in or something that would shake your screen normally. This is going to put it down to the least amount of shake possible, so it should help you be able to see what's going on in game. We don't need more screen shake. That is not good. Want it to be the least amount possible, and that's really all you need to know, at least in the view tab for graphics. Now, something that's really cool that I want to show you guys that will make your game look a little bit better is in the interface tab. We're going to go right here to interface, underneath readability, go down to color customization, and we're going to click into this. So in color customization, that HUD color palette can be on default or whatever you've customized this to be. If you have different things you want to change this to, go for it. Mine's on default because I like it the way it is and I don't feel the need to change it. What we're really paying attention to is going down here to these color filter targets, and this is important. So color filter target should be on filter 2. This is going to be the best filter. Color filter target should be on both, not world or interface. and your world and interface color intensity should be at 100. This is going to make your game look a lot more vibrant, as if you had some type of NVIDIA filters or something on, regardless if you're on console or PC. This will make your game look more vibrant, less dreary and dark. It'll make things just a little bit brighter, and I like that quite a bit. Some people ask me like what color correction you have on, and honestly, like I only see what's on my screen, and I think it's very vibrant. I have a very minor like contrast or saturation filter that I have on my recording software that I don't see, but other than that, like I don't got nothing on my game, and it looks beautiful. So that is going to be that for you guys. Hope you enjoyed this settings video. If you did, be sure to give this thing a like, subscribe, notifications turned on, check out this other video on screen, and I'll see you all next time.